You doom scrolling on Instagram, not expecting much. And bam, there's an ad that actually makes you stop. Zepto, Zomato, Classplus, their ads do just that. Super relatable and totally scroll stopping. From Akshay Kumar's Zepto Super Saver campaign to Zomato's iconic spots with Katrina Kaif and Hrithik Roshan, these brands have raised the bar for ads that don't just grab attention but stick with you. And what's the one thing they all have in common? Chandan Mendiratta, the man behind these game-changing campaigns. Continue watching the full episode because this is just the trailer. Chandan's dropping insight after insight on how bold, in-house creativity is changing the ad game. Trust us, you'll want to take notes. Our guest today is Chandan Mendiratta, Chief Brand Officer and Chief Culture Officer at Zepto. An IIT Delhi and ISB alum, he has led brand, culture and growth at some of India's biggest companies, including Zomato and Classplus. From shaping viral campaigns to scaling businesses, he knows what it takes to build disruptive brands. Chandan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's very awkward to listen to all this. Okay. If you see my LinkedIn profile, I've removed everything, like doesn't say anything. Yeah.
So before we get into the real talk, let's talk about your journey. You've had an incredible career from training roles and consulting at Deloitte and Futures First to leading brand marketing at Zomato, then growth at Classplus, to now heading both brand and culture at Zepto. As you rightly said, your LinkedIn is stripped of all these things and you've only mentioned in your bio. Now on to the ride of a lifetime at Zepto.
Yeah.
So what has this journey been like and why does Zepto make it feel like it's the ride of a lifetime?
Awesome. A great question. So if you see my journey, it's been very, very unorthodox in that way. The kind of roles that I have done in the past do not follow a trajectory, and normally people do. So I started my career with consulting, joined Deloitte in 2004. That's my first job. Did not like consulting at all. Probably the projects I was doing were terrible. And I was in a train ride. We were going to Goa with my friends, and this one friend of mine says he was a trader, a financial trader. And he told me about the opportunity, and I joined Futures First, the financial derivatives trading firm. I was there for 5.5 years when I was trading, and then another 3 years when I was running their campus branding and recruiting. So if you see engineer, then consultant, then 5 years trader, and then 3 years campus recruitment and HR. And the reason of shifting from trading to the other role, because trading was a very individual contributor role, and I thought, I'm a people's person. That's not what I would enjoy doing. So I moved into that role. Very soon realized that, I wasn't doing very good. Left my job, and I had family then. My daughter was 2.5, and I left my job, moved to Bombay to start a production house. I thought कि यार कुछ creative करना है, मैं creative इंसान हूँ, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ ये. So moved to Bombay to start a production house. Few months into Bombay, realized, अरे ये क्या कर दिया मैंने? That's not what I want to do. So if you see from my journey, I kept iterating, trying to find what I would be good at. At that point in time, I had nothing to do. So I was stuck in a situation where I had spent 10 years working. And when you do an MBA, they put you in 4 buckets. Okay, either you are a finance person, or ops person, or marketing person, or
consulting?
Or no, consulting is general, but 4. So I remember ISB, there were 4 broad buckets: marketing, finance, ops, or 4th one I said, strategies again general. Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, anyways, 4 buckets, and I wasn't falling in any of those 4 buckets. So I had not done marketing before. While I had traded futures, but wasn't really a finance job because, finance is corp fin mostly. I had never done ops. So I wasn't falling in any of the buckets. I realized, अब तो लग गई दोस्त. जिसका कोई नहीं होता उसका startup होता है. So then, right after my MBA, joined a holiday startup, and there the dots started connecting. And I'll tell you something very interesting, which I learned. I'm not saying that holiday startup was a thing that, made me who I am today. But the person I met there and what he felt about me made all the difference. So my then boss at this holiday startup, so I worked really hard at this startup, really, really hard. Also because I really always enjoyed holidays. That was my thing, very comfort zone. So I worked really hard. That startup shut shop because we couldn't raise the next round. And then I moved to Zomato. Interestingly, I got 2 huge roles at Zomato after I joined. So not immediately when I joined Zomato, but how I got into Zomato, because Dippy is my batchmate from undergrad. He was going on LinkedIn. He was going to interview my then boss at this holiday startup. And LinkedIn mein aata na, right, mein people who view this also view this. So my profile sprung up. He messaged me and I ended up at Zomato. But the first role that I got at Zomato wasn't that great. So I got 2 huge opportunities at Zomato because my then boss from that startup moved to Zomato. And he opened doors for me for these 2 huge roles. One was I led the 500 city role, the city launch role at Zomato. So, my team launched 500 cities at Zomato. You would be aware, right? And then after having spent 2 years at Zomato, I got to lead the brand marketing role. And I'd never done marketing before, right? Mostly people who do this role, would come from a traditional career marketer, background. But I'd never done marketing before. And I got to run marketing for a going to be public company. Again, because this guy who was my boss at the holiday startup opened that door for me. And then I joined Classplus because the guy who founded Classplus is someone who I recruited many years ago when I was at Futures First. So he knew me. And then how I joined Zepto is the guy who used to report into me at Zomato was at Zepto in the 500 city role, and he pushed everybody in Zepto that I should be there. The 2 lessons that I would give you here is, one is work really, really hard. Don't buy into BS of work-life balance. Work really hard, because what happens is, unless you don't want to do extremely well, होता क्या है कि हम बहुत आगे कहीं पहुंचना चाहते हैं लेकिन उसके लिए एफर्ट नहीं डालना चाहते हैं, और फिर हम सल्क करते हैं कि मैं यहाँ क्यों नहीं पहुंचा. तो इफ यू रियली वांट टू गेट सम प्लेस, वर्क रियली हार्ड, रियली रियली हार्ड, लाइक एस ऑफ. एंड सेकंड, डोंट बी एन एसहोल. All the doors that were opened for me were opened by somebody who either I reported into or this person reported into me. So people always remember you for the things you do to them, good or bad. People never forget. So be kind to people, be awesome to people, and work really hard, because that's what people would remember. People will always remember your work ethic. So these are 2 lessons. Like I told you, initial years of my journey were shaky, but how I got where I am today is because of the people who worked with me, who I worked with, and they paved the way for me. And that's really, really important. When we say networking at a B school, networking is not about knowing everybody, but them knowing very, very, or remembering you for a very, very good, they have a very good POV about you.
That's so true. And now that you've talked about people and working at Zomato, I really want to know that culturally, what has been the biggest difference between Zomato and Zepto? So is it the leadership, is it the risk appetite, or is it something else?
I think for both organizations, one thing that's pretty clear is we're both in a high growth phase. Like not Zomato now, but Blinkit now, yes. But when I joined Zomato 2018, it was a high growth phase. To give you a context, Zomato had just started doing food delivery just about few quarters ago. And Zomato used to be about 20% market share. Swiggy used to be about 80%. Very, very nascent. That's when I got to. In fact, when I joined Zomato, it was so early in food delivery time that when you open the Zomato app, on the home page, you'll see a button which would say order food online. And then when you click on that button, it would land into food delivery flow. Which few months after I joined, it moved to when you open the Zomato app, the default landing page would be food delivery. Because Zomato had this hangover of dine out experiences. So it was still a restaurant discovery app. So point I'm trying to make here is I joined Zomato very early, the right time, and so I did Zepto at a very right time. So joining at the right time is also very, very important. So this is what I say. Right place at the right time is extremely important. Right place is defined by TAM, high TAM, and right time is defined by how small it is on the journey of that TAM. So that's how I define right place at the right time. You'll obviously take decisions in your life, joining organizations or start something of your own. But if you're joining organization, do check the right place at the right time. TAM and the time.
So you mentioned joining Zomato at a high growth stage and now Zepto. But now that you've also mentioned that Zomato is not at that high growth stage.
It is still, okay, with Blinkit, I think food delivery has kind of slowed down. But Blinkit is at a high growth phase, and QCom is generally at a high growth phase right now.
So comparatively, like working at Zepto at such a high growth stage, what feels different about building and scaling?
When you're at a high growth phase, there are a lot of things which need to be fixed. And you can start anywhere. Nothing is off your territory. So, and many of you, join high growth startups. Don't just be confined to what you're given to do. And that's what we call ownership or founder's mindset. Is that, first of all, whatever is given to you, whatever it takes to do it, that may be beyond your scope of work, you have to do it. For example, when I was leading that team that was launching 500 cities, there are a lot of things that were not sorted. Like from a product point of view, from a GTM point of view, and everything was my responsibility. So you need good stakeholder coordination, interpersonal skills you need, because you have to then motivate somebody whose responsibility is not to fix what needs to be fixed. It is your responsibility, but this person will have to do it for you. So you have to ensure that things are done according to your way by somebody else who may or may not be that motivated to do it. I think that's a skill you should have. So yeah, good stakeholder management is something that you must learn, and nothing is off the books. Everything has to be done by you, and that's when you grow tremendously. And like in workout, in muscle building, when you strain yourself, that's when new muscle is built. It happens here also. When you do something that you are not comfortable doing, and that's when you grow, that's when you learn something new. And I'm telling you, 2020, so just about 4 years ago, that was the first time I got a marketing role to run. And I had no idea. In fact, when I joined that team, everybody who was reporting into me knew much more about marketing than I did. And I told them, I don't know. I will learn it from you. You will teach me. And I still call them and tell them, hey, I learned this from you. The people who reported into me. There was no problem, right? And then I, over time, applied first principle thinking, learned what needed to be learned. Another lesson here is, there's nothing you can't do. And Zepto is one prime example, right? If a 19-year-old can start a company that can compete with, the likes of Swiggy, Zomato, you can do anything. So only you stop yourself and think, oh, but I haven't done this. This I cannot do. You can do anything. कुछ भी कर सकते हो तुम लोग. ठीक है?
So you've talked about not being a career marketer. Is there one piece of advice that you would like to give to people in the audience who want to pursue marketing in their career as something you've learned by joining later in the industry?
Yeah, just be passionate about doing it and keep pushing your way and finding a place for you to get. 5-10 years ago, you have to start from the very beginning. You have to join an FMCG company to be a marketer. In fact, all startups were hiring marketers from FMCG companies. And that was the route of a marketer. That you do your undergrad, you do your MBA, very early in your career, join FMCG company, then grow up the ranks, and then do whatever. Continue there or join as a marketer somewhere else. But it's changing now. Very few companies that don't hire career marketers. And there is another interesting thing that I have seen is the rise of a right brain marketer. Most of the marketers in the industry have been left brain marketers. Left brain, more analytical, right brain, more creative. There has been a rise of, what I keep saying, I think in next 5-10 years, this trend will change and we'll see rise of the right brain marketer, which never existed in the industry ever before. If I explain to you how marketing works today, that you are a left brain person, join a company, they have agencies who write your scripts for you. You have to come up with a marketing insight, and what is it that insight is, what should the agency know about your product and the insight. And then the agency will write a script for you and get a film for you, and then you distribute that film and hope that God's love is with you. But now, for example, both Zomato, we used to write our scripts in-house. A lot of content we used to create in-house. Zomato is known for creating content. We follow their social media handles, and everything that they create content, except the films that they do, they write in-house. And at Zepto, we are writing all our films in-house. Every content that we have produced last 3-4 months, we produced some 20-30 odd films. You must have seen some of them. All written in-house. In fact, we recently concluded a campaign with Akshay Kumar and NTR. I don't know if you got to see, some of you must have seen it. Written in-house by 3-4 of us. We got in a room for multiple days, and then we cracked this. This never used to happen a few years ago. In an organization, the marketer would never write a script. I think that's how the industry is going to move. So you can be a creative, or you could be a left brain marketer also. So there's a different kind of role that's coming up, growing in the industry. I think only 2 organizations have recognized till now. I think Zomato and Zepto. But a lot of right brain folks who will also find marketing opportunities. But otherwise, the left brain market has always existed. So you have to see which kind of marketer you are and how you want to grow.
Chandan, I really have to say that I love your specs. The purple color really stands out. And I believe all of us would agree that something that instantly stands out about Zepto is the color purple. So it has gone all in on purple, whether it's the ads, the campaigns, the Zepto Cafe app. So whereas Zomato takes a sort of a different approach, they use red, yellows, and even greens sometimes. So both the brands clearly have distinct take on color psychology. What is the thinking behind Zepto's strategy?
So Zomato also uses all red. Yellow is Blinkit. Zomato is red. Everything you see, Zomato is undeniably red. And that's by design. In fact, when I joined Zepto, every creative wasn't actually all purple. We used to do all kind of colors. But when I moved here, I said, no, let's do only purple. So that few years from now, even if you look at a creative, you don't see the brand, it's Zepto. The brand recall is at the peak, right? You can't, even if now, tomorrow, some other brand uses purple, their brand message might be mistaken as a Zepto message. That also stops other brands to start using purple, because their marketing effort will get wasted if people start thinking it's a Zepto ad. So you kind of, as a mover in industry, kind of hold the mind share of a color. So whenever you see purple now, it will remind you of Zepto. If not now, few years from now. The very same way now Zomato red kind of reminds you of Zomato. There are other brands that use red, but there is no recall because they don't use it so often as Zomato. Of course, because the delivery partners also wear that jersey who you see many number of times during the day, either on the road or delivering to you. So that kind of builds a strong recall for the brand. And that is important, right? That's money saved. If you can remind people of your brand without having to spend money on it, and it happens every day, multiple times a day, that's marketing dollars saved. All you have to do as a marketer is be on top of your consumer's mind more often than your competition in your home.
So beyond brand recognition, does it actually help in consumer behavior? Like, does it make the brand more addictive, more premium in any way?
So of course, purple is a premium color. We've associated purple with, and every color has a reason to it. Of course, purple has that element of premiumness, luxury to it. Red has that more, of aggression, bright, full of energy. So does yellow. So every color has its logic, and you have to pick which color you side with. Purple is a color of purple, royalty. This is my point of view that whenever you do something as a brand, unless your brand caters to India 2, but if your brand caters to India 1 or India 1.5, premium colors is really important because as you grow, so right now your students, you'll grow financially in your career, move on, you'll have more discerning taste. And over time, hota kya hai कि all these apps start delivering similarly. In a way, they all have the same SKUs, they all delivered in 10 minutes. But which app would you associate more with? And you start assigning reasons to it. Either it could be the color you like, the messaging you like, the frequency you see these brands. And you start saying, oh, this is my kind of brand. I heard somebody, overheard somebody saying, which brand was it? Yeah, Nike. I was Cyber Hub 2 days ago this weekend. And this guy passed by and said, I'm a Nike kind of a guy. I heard him saying, I'm a Nike kind of a guy. What does that mean? Adidas or Puma have similar, like they have the same material, everything is same. But why do you say, I'm a Nike kind of guy? Because you feel, you assign your pride with the brand's message or ethos. And that's a beautiful point to reach at. You could reach at with the frequency you reach out to, with the color you have, with the messaging you have, or general brand love you create. And that is the core of, that's a core job of a marketer. To start saying, oh, I like Zepto. Kyun? I think it's my kind of brand. Why? No, this is, I don't know why. So people may not be able to assign the reason of why they like a certain brand. It's because of multitude of reasons that accumulate over time, and that's the core job of a marketer, to make people fall in love with your brand and say, I'm a Zepto kind of a guy.
I think Zepto does that beautifully, and the amount of social currency it helps to gain. The next question is my personal favorite as somebody who loves ads but loves Son Papdi even more. The Make Son Papdi Great Again campaign was something that I instantly connected with. Now everybody talks about these ads, but do they actually help in driving business? Like, have you ever seen a campaign directly push up a category sales or drive app downloads?
Yeah, great question. So, as a goal for a marketer, you can have multiple goals, but two major goals that you think of is brand and category or order growth. Interestingly, Son Papdi led to order growth as well. We saw that for the last many years, the number one SKU used to be Laddu, second used to be Kaju Katli, and third used to be Son Papdi for last 2-3 years. And this year, Son Papdi was the number one selling sweet on Zepto. Second was Laddu, third was Kaju Katli. So, we reminded people that, Kaju Katli is good. And I'm talking about not the free Kaju Katlis that we gave, with the orders, but the Kaju Katli that was sold on the platform. So it also led to order growth. The whole idea of Son Papdi was to do something that people share. Now this is how the world is changing, right? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I think most of the traditional companies still operate in a traditional mindset of marketing. But as the new age organization come up, which are mostly app, social, not social, but app or digital organizations, we should think a lot more like a content creator or social media. Primarily because 20 years ago, you would watch the ad only on a TV. And there is no way you could share an ad. But now a lot of content is consumed on social media. And when you think like a content creator, you think what would make people share this? What would make people talk about it? And that's what we call earned media. What is earned media? When a customer talks about you. And that's a beautiful thing as a brand if you could achieve. What would make a customer talk about you? If you've seen our bags, they weave a story. If you've seen the flyers that we give out on every event, the boxes that we give out on every event. I don't know if you ordered Women's Day on Zepto,
yes.
You got a chill lady card, right? The whole idea of the design was that anybody who gets it, if a male gets it, he would share it with a female in his life and said, hey, you are the chill lady in my life. Or if a woman gets it, he would share it with her women friends and say, hey, you are the chill lady in my life, or I am the chill lady, I'm proud of, whichever way. The idea is that if the customers can talk about you, if somebody can pick her phone, take a picture of your content. The content could be a BTL, could be a digital ad, could be an outdoor. Click a picture of that creative that you created and send it to a WhatsApp group, which we'll never get to know about because it's a WhatsApp group. We have no access to every WhatsApp group, right? That's marketing dollars saved. If you can reach out to more people, see, we can always pay to reach people, right? Through perf marketing or reach and frequency campaigns. But if you can reach out for free to more number of users with more credibility, because when your friend shares it with you, that builds more credibility. I can put in money for my credit to be seen by you, but when your friend shares it with you, that's more credible. You slowly and steadily, both of you, who shares with you and you, start steadily moving towards that, oh, I'm a Zepto kind of a guy. That happens over time. Of course, doesn't happen in few months, happens over years. But that small step taken for a marketer to take you to a place where you start saying, associating yourself, your pride with the ethos and content of the org.
I think it's in the smaller details. It's all in the finer details that on Women's Day, my dad ordered some chocolates for me. And my mom called me to their room and she showed me the Zepto bag and she scanned it with her phone and with a huge smile on her face, she like, look at this, look at this. And my mom is usually a low involvement consumer in these cases. But the fact that she called me specially to see that live action cartoon is something that really makes it seem like Zepto is doing a great job. But beyond just visibility, do these campaigns actually help in building customer loyalty? Or are they just more of a one-time attention play that does not necessarily create long-term engagement?
See, customer loyalty is a function of many things. As the role of a marketer is to bring the customer to your shop front, could be a offline shop front or an online shop front. And then, of course, the delivery promise, what the customer is looking for, as long as you consistently deliver over time. See, marketing is not just, सिर्फ marketing धंधा नहीं चलेगा. राइट मार्केटर का काम है कि यार शॉप फ्रंट तक ले आऊँगा मैं एक बार नहीं when I say so first time buyer or I can keep bringing the customer again and again as a repeat buyer, but it's the core of the business. For example, for us it will be speed, quality, assortment, price. If we deliver with speed every time, high quality stuff, massive assortment, so that today you may need doodh anda bread, tomorrow you may need an iPhone, AirPod, iPad. And price at a great price. So in India, we are very conscious about the money we spend. We are very value conscious, and if I can deliver affordability with convenience, we've hit the home run. And the whole idea of doing the Super Saver campaign you must have seen recently is how can I marry affordability with convenience? QCOM known for convenience. Can I add affordability to it and say, hey, while we deliver in 10 minutes, will also be a great price and the lowest price. So एक बार देख तो लो.
Also, let's talk about some failures. What is one ad campaign that totally flopped, and what did you learn from it?
So this was July 2021. So it was a campaign we shot with. This was Zomato. We shot with Hrithik and Katrina, two separate films. I'll tell you the film anyways, you can watch it later. So the film starts with Ryder knocks at the door. Hrithik Roshan opens the door. Ryder says, Are sir aap? Of course, he's very happy to see Hrithik Roshan. He never imagined Hrithik Roshan would be, other side of the door. Hrithik Roshan says, Are जादू? जादू? अरे हाँ हमेशा टाइम पे डिलीवर करते हो, जादू से कम हो गया? तो कहता रुको एक सेल्फी लेनी है तुम्हारे साथ. So Hrithik Roshan says to the rider that एक selfie लेनी है तुम्हारे साथ. He goes in. We see the Zomato rider, his phone rings. Hrithik Roshan comes back only to realize his rider has left. And then we show rider, walking with all swag outside the building and, saying to himself, अब इनकी selfie के लिए रुकता तो अगला order delay हो जाता. वो क्या है ना, अपने लिए ऋतिक रोशन हो या आप, हर customer है star. कैसा लगा आपको? अच्छा है? But इससे कुछ नहीं हुआ. Because what is it trying to solve? It wasn't trying to solve anything. It wasn't solving anything that you want the customers to remember. In fact, it backfired in a way that, the chatter on the internet was that your riders are so stressed that they can't wait for a selfie with Hrithik Roshan. So much so, some people said, you don't respect your riders, you're calling them aliens, jadoo. Okay, they are just aliens to you, right? So, as a marketer, sometimes you will make mistakes. But one big learning was, why are we doing this? And that is something that you must ask every time, not just about marketing, but anything that you do. Why are you doing it? If the objective is not defined, you are bound to fail. Nothing moved, no mind metrics, nothing moved. ठीक है, हर कस्टमर है आप, तो क्या करूं? क्या मैं इससे ज़्यादा खाना मंगा लूंगा? अगर ठीक है, चलो मैं ऋतिक रोशन जैसा हूं आपके लिए, तो क्या करूं? ज़्यादा खाना खा लूं? As an app, my goal is to, you should order more often, right? Or order bigger cart size. एक डोसा नहीं, 2 डोसा मंगाओ, whatever. That's the goal. या तो बास्केट साइज बढ़ा लूँ या नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स बढ़ा लूँ, यही 2 गोल होते हैं. इससे क्या हुआ? कुछ नहीं हुआ.
Wouldn't it just be a reminder that even if you order at any point of time, it will come in whatever, 8 minutes or what?
Great question, great point. But that wasn't so clear, na? आपका ऑर्डर डिले. So again, it's a layered message. The message could have been very straightforward. Message was very layered. कि ऋतिक रोशन से कंपेयर कर रहा है, अच्छा उसकी सेल्फी नहीं ली, ओके मेरे को टाइम पे डिलीवर करना है क्या? Oh, I get it. It's so layered. And you watch it on TV for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. We are all, every ad is craving for your attention. It's very difficult for people to retain a layered message. So as a marketer, the script, if you watch this film, it's all full of swag, great music. In fact, जो ऋतिक रोशन की फिल्म है उसमें तो बारिश भी हो रही है. हमने नकली बारिश कराई थी, तो वो बारिश में निकल रहा है स्वैग में एकदम, बहुत स्लो मोशन, हाई FPS शॉट, ग्रेट लुकिंग विजुअल्स. हुआ क्या? Similarly, one other campaign that we did when we wanted to increase frequency of ordering in Zomato, we shot 7 films. के Monday मतलब, I don't know if you know, but West में ना there's a concept called Taco Tuesdays.
Yes.
A lot of people consume tacos on Tuesdays because that's been going on. It's a marketing ploy, have been happening for years. So we coined 7 days of the week as 7 according to 7 dishes. Do you remember this one? है? रोज का खाना नहीं. It was called तो आज मंगाया क्या? Monday मतलब healthy Monday. So healthy Mondays, dosa Tuesdays, Oriental Wednesday, Italian Thursdays, pizza Fridays, biryani Saturdays and Mughlai Sundays. ऐसे करके हमने 7 दिन बांधे थे. So ये all dishes complete हो गए आपकी. Healthy, dosa, South Indian, Oriental, Italian, pizza, बिरयानी, मुगलई, सब कवर कर लिया हमने. हमने ऐसे 7 ऐड बनाए और टीवी पे अगर आप मंडे को ऐड देखोगे तो आपको मंडे का दिखेगा, वेंसडे को देखोगे, वेंसडे का दिखेगा. डिजिटल पे भी जिस दिन आप देख रहे हो उस दिन का ऐड दिखेगा. तो हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट ऐसे किया. अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट लग रहा है? व्हाट डू यू थिंक कुड बी द पिटफॉल्स फॉर दिस कैंपेन? लेट्स हियर इट फ्रॉम यू. हाँ, मुगलई बोल दिया हमने. पिटफॉल बताओ इस कैंपेन में क्या होगा?
I think it's too confusing.
हाँ,
I think it's a little too confusing for the viewer.
एक तो कंफ्यूजिंग है, उसको 7 चीजें याद रखनी है. Always if you have to pick between showing one creative 7 times or 7 creatives 1 time each, always go with former because it takes 4 or 5 impressions for a customer for a viewer to register what the message is. अब क्या हो रहा है, कभी ट्यूसडे वेंसडे मैसेज समझ नहीं है और लास्ट में बोलता है तो आज मंगाया क्या, तो वो समझ नहीं आया. एक तो मैसेज रिटेंशन नहीं हुआ. और व्हाट कुड बी अदर पिटफॉल?
This is one point of that there's too much happening and there's too much complexity. I think the other point is that we can't direct the user कि आज तो यही खाना, कि आज तो मुगलई है तो आज मुगलई खाना है, मुझे अगर डोसा खाना है तो मैं डोसा खाऊंगा, मुझे अगर
I'll tell you the answer somewhere there. Huh?
lot of culture. So back if they are saying like a Mughlai on Sunday, it might come with some cultural barriers saying that आज कोई पूजा का दिन है, आप XYZ आप नॉन वेज नहीं खा सकते.
So like as Indians, हमें बचपन से we have been trained that we can't order really from outside because that's seen as a celebration.
Exactly.
तो तभी करना होता है because इससे ज़्यादा Zomato का जो ad था that आज घर पे खाया गया like home cooked.
Exactly, that's the point. People don't change their worldview. So you have to, as a marketer, don't try to change their worldview. think of your message that can support their worldview, and then they would love you for it. Overnight, you can't change, hey, tum roz mangao. People will reject you and not listen to you, and will stop believing in you. So it is important that you think of your message supporting their worldview. To give you context, the latest campaign that we did with Akshay Kumar. If you have, how many have seen it? Okay. I'll tell you what happened. So, or can you just take a moment and watch it now? I'll explain. Just go to Zepto Instagram and see the Akshay Kumar creative. I'll take 30-40 seconds.
I think it's fundamentally highlighting on the fact that even if you deliver it online, it still can be a cost saver, because the first line in it is कि online मंगा रहे हो तो महंगा पड़ेगा, something like that. I think वो एक point है जो point highlight कर रहा है. Because that's a notion in the Indian society कि अगर आप online कर रहे हो तो फिर तो महंगा पड़ेगा. ये महंगा
सर एक बार देख तो लो.
Now, I have a question on the Zepto ad that you were talking about, the Hrithik Roshan one. And you probably used the mic. Sorry? No. Sorry. कौन से वाला? Hrithik Roshan was. So, I have a question on that. India fundamentally, that I've understood, is more of a bragging proposition country. वहाँ पे people want to feel special and want to have that कि यार we are being. So when you're comparing a normal person with a Hrithik Roshan, is it not making, from a POV from mine, is it not making him feel special and saying that okay, I am also in that category, and if they're treating me as people who...
That's not what I wanted them to remember. Na? What I wanted to say कि हम timely deliver करेंगे. So again, layered message था ना. That's the point I'm making. It's very layered. Have you all seen it? So the whole idea of, and this is how I learned from the other campaigns that I talked about. How can you support their worldview? So when you tell somebody कि यार online grocery मंगा लो सस्ता पड़ेगा, लोग believe नहीं करते. तो हमने ये नहीं कहा कि तुम move your shopping to Zepto. If you see, we don't talk about कि now order from Zepto and get lower. हमने उनको एक low friction step दिया कि यार ठीक है, आपको believe नहीं होगा, तो एक बार देख तो लो. बस यही है. आप मत खरीदो, प्राइसेस देख लो. ये तो लो फ्रिक्शन है. आई एम नॉट आस्किंग यू टू चेंज योर वर्ल्ड व्यू. हम ऐसा भी कैंपेन बना सकते कि अरे ऑनलाइन, अरे ग्रोसरी शॉपिंग करते हो, अरे अब से सिर्फ जेप्टो पर मंगाओ क्योंकि यहाँ पे मिलेंगे लोएस्ट प्राइसेस, है ना. क्यों मंगाऊँ मैं? मेरे को सस्ता मिलता है. मैं तो जाता हूँ. और फिर देन पीपल स्टार्ट असाइनिंग रीजंस. अरे मैं तो जाता हूँ फैमिली के साथ, इट्स माय फैमिली टाइम टुगेदर, वी गो ऑन ऑल्टरनेट संडेज, वी स्पेंड क्वालिटी टाइम विद फैमिली, पुशिंग दैट कार्ट इन द आयल. पीपल असाइन रीजंस फॉर वट एवर दे डूइंग एंड दे कॉल इट क्वालिटी टाइम. हमने कहा ठीक है यार, लेट्स नॉट क्वेश्चन व्हाट दे डू, लेट्स जस्ट प्ले विद फोमो कि यार देखो प्राइस अगर आपको महंगा पड़ रहा है तो आप गलत आप होता है ज़्यादा ओवर स्पेंड कर रहे हो, तो लो फ्रिक्शन देते हैं. लो फ्रिक्शन क्या है? देख लो, मत खरीदो, देख तो लो. एंड देन टू इंश्योर दैट इट इज रिमाइंडेड मल्टीपल टाइम्स, अक्षय कुमार सेज 5 times देख तो लो. इफ यू से पहले एक बोलता है गैलरी में, 3 बार अलमारी, फ्रिज, वॉशिंग मशीन से, और एक बार लास्ट में. इट मेक्स यू वांट टू चेक द प्राइसेस कि ठीक है यार क्या बोल रहा है, दिखा यार. हमने जो कस्टमर जैसे रिएक्ट करेगा वही दिखा दिया उसमें. कस्टमर ने बोला महंगा पड़ता होगा, यू सी द हस्बैंड स्नब्स हिम ऑफ. हस्बैंड व्हेन ही सेज अरे चलो कुछ भी, दैट्स व्हाट एवरीबॉडी वुड डू. सो हमने वही इनसाइट देखे कि ठीक है अब कैसा काम करेगा, विल टाइम विल टेल. हो सकता है कि मैं इसको भी इवैल्यूएट कर रहा हूँ कि अरे इसको और बेटर करना चाहिए, तो ऑफकोर्स वो होगा ही. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि परफेक्ट कैंपेन है. परफेक्ट कैंपेन तो कुछ होता नहीं, और जो भी होगा पता चलेगा 2-3 महीने बाद. बट what we did was apply the learnings कि यार एक तो लो फ्रिक्शन स्टेप देते हैं. लो फ्रिक्शन इज देख तो लो, इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग शॉप ऑन Zepto. शॉप नहीं बोला एक बार भी. और हमें पता है कि अगर प्राइसेस कम होंगे तो इंसान शॉप करेगा. क्यों नहीं करेगा? वही आटा अगर आपको सस्ते मिले तो कोई ये क्यों ले, वो ना ले, है ना.
So you talked about how Zepto aims to deliver speed, quality, price, and assortment. So on the assortment front, Zepto has been making some very unexpected moves with brand partnerships. First, Decathlon, Manyavar, US Polo. I mean, these aren't exactly impulse buys, right? So, like adding a chocolate to my grocery cart makes sense, but what's the actual goal here with the wedding sherwani?
A lot of people misunderstood. We are not selling wedding sherwanis. And एक must comment था LinkedIn पे कि Zepto, can you please tell us, tell us who is this groom who's ordering sherwani, because that's a big red flag. So, and I agree, somebody who's ordering a sherwani at the very last minute is a big red flag. I get it. But we were actually, the campaign is not about the groom sherwani, it's about all the baratis to not wear suit. Because Manyavar doesn't want them to wear suits on a shadi. अच्छा सा वो जो कुर्ता, whatever it's called, achkan, whatever it's called, should be there. So if you recall the film, के सब नाच रहे हैं barati, and then everybody looks down upon these three guys who are groom's friends and they're wearing suit, which we all have done in the past, and then the groom who's on his high pedestal in a car orders Manyavar for these three, and then the barat comes to life. So the whole idea of doing these SKUs is that these are not very frequently occurring SKUs, but the whole idea is it's what we call the halo marketing, the halo effect. What is the halo effect? That if you show something aspirational, that this is available on Zepto, everything under that is assumed that it is available on Zepto. Instead of me telling you कि ये भी मिलता है, मैं आपको 50 चीज़ें बताऊँ, I have only so much marketing money to spend. What if I tell you something that you won't believe, but still can believe? So it's not the Skoda car. I'll talk about it because nobody will believe. So when we're not delivering Skoda cars, I'll tell you उसका क्या logic था. But something that you won't believe, but still be okay with believing, जैसे कि ये मिलता है. So if you've seen all the brand campaigns that we've done in the last 3-4 months, we picked brands which are the mind share occupant of that category. It could be Eno, Boat headphones, Maybelline, Lakme. So when I talk about Lakme range or Maybelline range, then I know that बाकी और सस्ते brands तो मिल ही जाएंगे आपको, right? So that's the halo effect. Pick a mind share occupant of that category, and then you've made it stick. अच्छा ये मिल रहा है तो check तो कर लेते हैं ना, वो भी मिलता ही होगा. That kind of makes you, that reminds you कि इतना सब कुछ मिलता है, अब आप कुछ और देख रहे हो तो एक बार search तो कर लो. My job is to make you search for any SKU that you want to buy today on Zepto.
You mentioned this Skoda campaign also that went viral. You really made the internet believe that you could get a car delivered in under 10 minutes. But then we found out the truth that it was more about promoting the test drives for the new Kailak. So when you create campaigns like this, is the goal from the very beginning to generate hype and curiosity, even if it leads to a bit of misinterpretation?
So idea never to make it misinterpreted. But the whole idea of any marketing campaign, what we seek virality. Why virality? Because it reaches more people than you would have imagined. Earned media, people share it with each other. Both Manyavar hoarding and Skoda creative. And Skoda, and both these two things. So it doesn't always about how much money you spend. We spent 0 rupees on the Manyavar Shadi hoarding. I don't know how many if you've seen it. That went viral. Everybody talked about it. The LinkedIn was full of it. And this one, Skoda, was also went viral. A lot of people talked about it. Earned media. Virality is nothing but earned media. When somebody else talks about you, you save on marketing dollars to reach out to more people. So yes, all marketers crave virality because it saves marketing dollars. It reduces cost per reach. That's the metric that reduces when it achieves virality. Skoda was, of course, we wanted it to people start talking about it, कि अरे ये क्या हो रहा है, and then reveal it. A good thing about the social media is that people come and talk about it. and give their opinion on it. Should Zepto be doing it? Should this? And it's all fun, right? And then when we wanted it to stay for 2-3 more days before we reveal, but it became so viral in so lesser time that we decided to tell, firsthand. A lot of people reached out to Adit and said, are you delivering cars? Are you delivering cars? Not delivering cars. Just a test drive, just a campaign we did for Skoda.
So should we now brace ourselves for the day Zepto actually delivers cars, or was that just a glimpse of how bold the brand's moves can
It
get?
was just a fun thing we wanted to, for our brand to stick in people's mind. I don't think it makes sense to deliver cars anytime soon, but I don't know what future holds for us. Right now, you can order, one can say you don't need an iPhone in 10 minutes, but we do deliver iPhones. We have the latest iPhone SE if somebody's looking to buy. It will be delivered to you in 10 minutes. And not just iPhones, but iPads, AirPods, PlayStation, अभी शायद नहीं है हमारे पास, या आ गया होगा, and MacBook, all delivered to you in 10 minutes. Do you need a MacBook in 10 minutes? The answer is you can respond to it. Nobody wanted tomato in 10 minutes also, or Nibu in 10 minutes also. But now you can't live without it in 10 minutes.
And if this is just the beginning, what's next? Are you focusing on vertical expansion by strengthening your hold on quick com, or is horizontal growth into new categories the bigger play?
Yeah, the horizontal growth, like add more categories to it. Like I mentioned, assortment is a big play. If you can keep adding assortment, because assortment leads to first-time buyers and also leads to retention of existing buyers. Your use cases change every day. My goal is to whatever you're searching for on the app, if it's not sold out or not available, then we're doing a good job. In fact, when we did the Shadi campaign, a lot of people, like there was some less than 100 searches for Shadi and Dula or something like that. People were searching for it. But less than 100 searches, but all fun, of course. So idea is to, whatever you're searching should not be sold out and should be available.
I think all of us want to know, is there an international expansion on the horizon anytime soon?
India is, the land of opportunities. There's so much to happen in India. I think there's so much to happen in India, so much. So many more categories that I know of that we are working on to be launched in next few quarters. There's so much depth in India, that international expansion only take us away from what we are building. Unnecessary diversion in terms of new user acquisition, in terms of user frequency, in terms of, and both will come from, more assortment, more categories. If you see all the apps, are working on medicines in 10 minutes. Swiggy is piloting it. I don't know about Blinkit, but yeah, we are also, can't tell you more. But point is, there's so much depth in the country. There's so much more that can be done and will be done.
And with that, I think we can open the floor for a few questions.
As you are defining the culture of the entire organization, so what key metric you have seen in the operating style of a Zomato, which is maybe run by a much older person like of 30s and later 30s, versus a person who is like just hitting their 20s? So what's the major cultural shift that you might have?
I think there's no much difference. Both organizations are very aggressive, high talent density. That's common to both these orgs. While Zomato is a much older organization, but it still operates as a startup with full of aggression, and nobody thinks of it as a 18-year-old company, now public company. It still operates as a startup. I think that's the ethos of that org, that it still operates as a startup. And we are a 3.5-year-old company. We are anyways a startup, but we'll always operate as a startup. This is what I say, that we should never arrive in life. There always has to be more to do. So yeah, never arrive in life. And organizations that never arrive, they do extremely well.
So second question was mine. If we were to take a case study of West, quick commerce failed terribly over there. Like they started much earlier than India, but they failed due to a number of reasons. So like what was that key pointer that you guys take out from the case study and see not to repeat that mistake in India? So as to survive as a
There are many differences, right? Population density, cost of last mile, cost of convenience. Cost of convenience is extremely high in West. It never makes sense. So food delivery does make sense now, but again for the really top of the pyramid of the country. But these three factors, that population density, cost of last mile, cost of convenience. Hence, India is the sweet spot. I don't know how many countries where QCOM can run outside India, but these three things have to fall in place for QCOM to.
So when Zepto started and you joined, I mean the founders were very young from you and you had a ample amount of experience. So what was your experience working under someone like he was a founder? Like how that situation or the relationship existed? Also one more question, did you also read that book, The Hard Thing About the Hard Thing? Like, did they make you read also?
Again, I have worked Zomato. I used to report to someone my age. Classplus, I used to report to someone who's 10 years younger, and now I report to somebody who's 21, 22 years younger, half my age. How does it matter? Doesn't matter at all. I know for sure that he inspires me every day. There's a lot I learn from him. I know hard to believe, what would a 22-year-old... I mean, how many of you are science students? Yeah, I'll tell you an equation. Is V equal to U plus 80. That applies in life as well. V is, who are, the not science students, let me explain. V is final velocity equal to U initial velocity plus A into T. So when you say, a person so young, that's his U, initial velocity. But this person has been learning at such a fast pace, growing at such a fast pace, that A is extremely high, making his V much bigger than mine. So V1, his V greater than my V. U was less, my U was higher, but his A is extremely high. So remember this, his V inspires my V every day. So how does it matter? Age is just a number, right?
So when you're committing yourself intensely early in your career, when it comes to family and health, how do you make sure you don't break anything in a way that it's not repairable later on? Family and career, family and health.
So मुझे लगता है, which I am also trying to do a good job on, is that life में सब कुछ करना है, छोड़ना कुछ नहीं है. Because the stress in life comes from that one thing you want to do and not doing. Stress doesn't come from working 15 hours a day. Stress doesn't come from the money you have or you don't have. Stress comes only from not doing good in one aspect of your life that is important to you. If family is important to you, if career is important to you, whatever is important to you, write down on a piece of paper, and then you have to do everything. You don't have a choice. You can't give up on one thing to get another thing. The top things that are on everybody's focus: health. We all want to be healthy. Second, we all want to have money, I won't say, but good career. And I'll tell you when I'll talk about money versus career. So health, career, family. Mostly तीन aspect होते हैं. और I'm assuming ये सबके लिए तीनों relevant है. Don't give up on anything. Do everything. सब कुछ करना है. कैसे वो figure out करो यार. वही art है. वो art है, science नहीं है. Science होती तो अभी सिखा देता मैं blackboard पे. Art है वो. और वो करना ही है. And I'm telling you, you have enough time to do everything. Take out time from what you're doing, which is not important. So everything you do, start looking at, is it contributing to your health or career or family? If the answer is no, don't do it. That saves you time from doing, because ये तीन चीज़ तो है ही relevant. तो सब कुछ करना है. एक चीज़ नहीं करोगे ना, स्ट्रेस होगा. करियर में फोड़ दिया, फैमिली के साथ बहुत क्रेजी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, हेल्थ की लगी हुई है, रोज स्ट्रेस. हेल्थ बहुत क्रेजी है, ऑफिस जाते हो, बॉस गाली दे रहा है, स्ट्रेस. और एंड द थर्ड थिंग, अगर फैमिली खुश नहीं है और हेल्थ भी अच्छी है, ऑफिस से खुश है, फैमिली घर आ रहे हो, कहेंगे तुम बस बाहर वालों के लिए ही हो, हमारे लिए नहीं हो. स्ट्रेस. Stress comes from not doing one thing that is important to you. Hence, must do everything.
Hi, Mehdi sir. First of all, I'm a big fan of yours. I actually didn't know that you were part of Zepto before you came here. I know you for Mix It Up with Mendy. And my question is on the same line. First of all, you resemble a lot like Fran Akhtar. I don't know how many times you have gone.
Is that your question?
No, that's not my question. My question is, I want to know about your more personal branding side. And how you started up with Mix It Up with Mendy. Because I think so that was the most...
Genesis was I was growing old. And I'm a creative person, that's what I've thought always. And I wasn't doing much to attend to my personal side. Like I mentioned, I told him, okay, whatever is important to you, you have to give time to it. And this was eating me up for many years. That I haven't done any creative thing. And it's just to vent my creativity.
And does it conflict with working at Zepto?
No.
So my question is, you mentioned a lot about assortments and the catalog and any Q-commerce stuff. But even today, while you open the quick commerce app of Zepto, it clearly says it's a 10-minute grocery delivery app. So is there any logic behind that?
No, that's just an error that needs to be changed. That needs to be changed to Zepto, everything in 10 minutes. That will be changed.
So, like, you have worked on so many startups and you have listened to all the fees. So, what, like, have you ever considered starting up a startup of your own or get into that field?
Yeah, a lot of people have told me this, but I'm very comfortable in what I'm doing. I don't want to start something of my own. I don't think I'm that person. मुझे लगता नहीं मैं startup वाला इंसान हूँ. So I'm happy what I'm doing. I don't want to start anything. I have no plans of starting something of my own. ऐसा भी नहीं सोचता कि यार ठीक है 5 साल बाद 10 साल बाद नहीं करूँगा. अभी तो ये सोचता हूँ नहीं करूँगा.
So we've established purple is usually associated with luxury and premium. But Zepto's biggest differentiator right now is super saver and convenience and affordability. If Zepto have to choose a color now, will still purple be the first choice?
Zepto super saver is little greenish if you see. That's already like we're taking super saver is a different proposition in the Zepto app.
But isn't it a contradictory when it comes to the primary color which is?
Yeah, so all brands have primary, secondary colors, and that's a super saver color. It's not overtly green, but it is like the super saver logo is made up of green. We wanted to make it, stand out from the luxury Zepto or the premium Zepto.
You mentioned when you joined Zomato back in 2018, they were at a 20% market share, and now they've obviously captured a lot of it. Any key insights Zomato played on to rapidly grow that fast?
So many things added up over the years. One major push that I remember that I was driving then was the new city launches. When we were live in 100 cities, Swiggy was live in 60 cities. When we were live in 200 cities, they were live in 120 cities. When we were live in 500 cities, they were live in 250 cities. And we became the first entrant in all the long tail cities. They were ahead in the bigger cities, except Delhi and few cities. They were ahead in all big cities. And then we took leap in all the long tail of cities. So we were the first entrant, and I don't know what the current market shares. Then used to be for all the new cities that we launched first in, our market share used to be 70, them 30, and all these little cities added up over time. And it's not just a thing, a lot of things added up to it. Currently, I think it's 57 Zomato, 43 Swiggy. And it's been so many years, right? So over time it added. But I remember, so we started launching cities in July 20. I joined in June 2018 when we were 20. In July 2019, a year later, we were 51% market share, Zomato. A lot of it was contributed by new cities.
Adding on to that, abhi Zepto playing your biggest competitor. Can we say that जो ज़्यादा पैसा marketing में डालेगा, they'll eventually have more share of voice and win? So is it right now a game of investing more on
share of voice in the long term is a function of market share. Market share is a function of how well you do marketing and deliver on the promise. It's not just about marketing. So your question is that कि पैसा खर्चने से नहीं, वो deliver भी करना पड़ेगा promise consistently over years.
Considering Zomato, the talent that you chose was Katrina and Vivek, but for Zepto, it was Akshay Kumar. Is there a reason why not somebody younger?
Yeah, great question. Who takes those decisions at your place?
I work in an ad agency, so it is taken.
Most of your grocery buying decisions at home is taken by
Mom.
Do you think your mom would respect an Akshay Kumar delivering that message or Ranveer Singh? Who she would trust more? So we actually thought that a younger person.
But the problem is Zepto users are more like people who...
Super saver is not a convenience value prop. It's a affordability value prop. And affordability You don't seek affordability right now. You are all about convenience, living the life, YOLO, right? But your family, your parents seek affordability. And we thought that older folks will not listen to a younger celeb. And why would they believe a younger celeb? When we know that younger celeb definitely doesn't order his groceries. So we wanted somebody more trustworthy, still fun, because Zepto is fun, not a serious app. It's fun, and hence we narrowed down on few names, and then we went ahead with Sharma. Has to be someone with a stature, someone old enough to be ordering groceries, someone who your parents could respect and look up to.
So I have a more controversial question.
I may not answer that then.
That's on you. But the Blinkit and Zepto wars has been kind of a thing that I've heard all throughout the campus. Because I usually have lunches on my own or I'm with friends. So a lot of the employees sitting have this discussion of, oh, I'm a Zepto person or I'm a Blinkit person. So I remember once hearing this thing that Blinkit's interface is a lot better than Zepto. And this is the one thing I've heard a lot. So do you think, despite of great marketing, if the interface is not great, marketing is by the end of it useless? Because by the end of it, he has to go on the app. Everyone is like, oh, it has a lot of ads. When I'm trying to locate where my order is, I see a lot of ads. That's a big problem. So do you think this also kind of affects your marketing at some place or the other?
There's nothing controversial in that question. So yes, UI plays a huge role in your eventual market share. But that's what you said. This interface is more complicated than that interface. That's an opinion. That's your opinion or the person you're listening to. Currently, you're sitting in Gurgaon where the yellow app leads in market share. So you're more likely to come across people who order from that app. The more you use an app, the more married you become to that UI. You get used to a UI. That happened many years ago with the Uber, Ola. People who used to use Ola said, Uber is too confusing. We used to use Uber, Ola is too confusing. That played with Zomato, Swiggy for many years. In South, we used to hear that Zomato app is very confusing. In North, we used to hear that Swiggy app is very confusing. Because in South, Swiggy used to lead, North, Zomato used to lead. So it's also a function of who's using. So in Gurgaon, you're more likely to come across, a yellow app customer. But is there no truth in what you said? I don't think so. Yes, there is some truth. And whatever it is that we see, they have a great product team, we have a great product team. We are also working on improving UI, they are also working on improving UI. And whatever we hear from our customers, we keep doing those dipsticks, we keep improving that. But again, it's an opinion.
You were already working with Zomato and Zepto was young and the entrepreneurs were very young. So did you go to Zepto as a concept for Zepto or did you see a passion on clicking?
I did not go directly from Zomato to Zepto. I worked with another company 1.5 years between these two. So
like you left that company because of the founders, like entrepreneurs, or for the Zepto as a concept?
Both. I think I'll tell you, when I was talking to Zepto, I wasn't too sure of joining because I was comfortable in Gurgaon. I did not want to leave family. This was in Bombay. But when I met Adit, in that 30-40 minutes discussion, I made up my mind that this is what I want to do. So the metrics he discussed, the vision that he discussed with me, I said, if I don't do this, I'll miss out on something potentially big. So I decided at that point in time I have to do it. But I always believed in QCom, but I did not want to be in Bombay. And hence I never considered Zepto. But that 30-40 minute meeting changed everything.
So what quality should a young entrepreneur or any entrepreneur should have to grab someone's attention, or any quality they should possess?
Like in this example, great vision. If you see, the entire leadership is made up of 30 to 40-year-olds, right? For a 20-year-old to get together this team, inspire them, motivate them, is a big ask, right? And has to have a lot of conviction. Of course, there has to be high TAM industry, add to it conviction that we can get to that TAM, or we can get a sizable portion of that TAM and bring together a team. So I'm the oldest in the leadership team at Zepto. So apart from the two founders, we vary from 28, 29 to 43.
So you mentioned how you have been a part of several growth startups, like when they were in their growth stages. Are there any key matrices that you look at to identify those startups? And how do you maintain those at that level?
Again, I will look at these two things: right place, right time. Like I mentioned, right place is TAM. TAM you can easily figure out from all the articles, which industry is growing. We all knew that online grocery has always been the mother of all TAMs. There has been nothing bigger than, of course, at one point in time, EdTech used to be a huge TAM market, right? So online grocery has always been the mother of all TAMs. And then you add to it electronics, toys, jewelry, apparel, footwear. It becomes, the hulk of TAM, right? And then boils down to right time and right people. So right place, right time, right people. Like I mentioned, right people, you talk to folks. If they inspire you, if they feel that this is the right place to be, you join that. Right time, if you feel the company has already become very big, there's not much you'll be doing, then you have to take a call. Or if you're joining, of course, there's a risk of joining early also, right? But you get paid for that risk. So depending on where you are, and you are all young, you should, next 10, 15 years, you should take so many risks in life. That's what my advice. Take as many risks. Don't play safe. Because you need one big opportunity to, catapult you. So don't take safe jobs. I don't think you'll learn. You'll learn faster. And if one opportunity shines, you'll earn faster.
My question was, if we are to start a company, like we all are relatively young, and the people we'll be hiring can be much older than us. So to motivate a team, other than the ESOPs and the salary packages, what is that one or two key actionable pointers that you incorporate in Zepto or with Zomato to?
वही मैंने बोला यार, vision of see हम सब ना क्यों काम करते हैं? पैसा कमाने के लिए और एक पर्पस के लिए. या तो पैसा मिल जाए, तो ESOPs की बात कर रहे हो, या एक बिगर पर्पस के यार we get to build something that will be remembered for years and leave a legacy behind. That's a purpose.
Well, that is only applicable to the top management people.
नहीं, everybody. When I joined Zomato, I was in the top management ना. So ऐसा नहीं है. ये मत सोचो कि यार मैं तो बहुत जूनियर हूँ, मैं क्या करूँगा. Of course क्यों नहीं, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं सोच. 4-5 years in a high growth startup, you can leave a strong legacy behind. Again, boils down to right place, right time. So don't ever think that, oh, I am too young. No, don't say. You are only limiting yourself.
Last question at the back.
So what is the one thing you admire about the Zepto founders? And the one thing which worked out for them until now? That's
Extremely aggressive. Aggressive but disciplined.
And what is the one thing that worked out for them in the
Worked for them.
Because before Zepto,
I think aggression and discipline, the combination of both worked beautifully. I know for sure that they never imagined this will become so big. So they stumbled upon that opportunity and then made it big with aggression and discipline. Sirf aggression se bhi nahi hoga, sirf discipline se bhi nahi hoga. Both.
I think that brings us to the end of this incredible fireside chat. Thank you so much, Chandan, for taking out the time. I think we'll all definitely make sure to take as many risks as we can and learn from them and make mistakes and grow from them. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Awesome. All the best, guys. One thing I would like all of you to know that, learn social media for sure if you want to be a marketer. Definitely LinkedIn if you want to be a marketer. Your audience is sitting on social media. Your viewers, your future customers are on social media. So learn, iterate. I think future marketers would be somebody who think like a content creator. And because that's the way to reach your customers at a low cost way. Whatever the traditional marketing techniques anyways will apply, but add to it the social media. Because our media consumption habits are changing drastically. We now have YouTube Premium, so we don't see ads, we don't watch TV. How will you reach out to your future customer? Your premium customer is very hard to reach. A premium customer is somebody who doesn't watch TV, has YouTube Premium, only watches cricket matches. So it's anyways expensive to put an ad on Hotstar, on a Champions Trophy or an IPL. How will you reach your future customer? Hence, most of the future customers are spending time on social. Instagram, Snap, if you must, and LinkedIn. Definitely LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is where the premium audience is consuming content on. And remember, influence flows from top down. You are all going to create influence with a lot of folks in the future. And, you'll influence the world tomorrow. So influence flows top down, and LinkedIn is a very important tool you must practice. And it all starts with creating content. Can you write on a regular basis on LinkedIn? Then more posts you make, more you'll learn about which post is working well. And then you'll understand why is this post working well. If you see my yesterday's post on LinkedIn where I'm holding 2 boxes, I don't know if some of you have seen, the holy box. Every time I'm in the picture, it works well. And that's true with everybody. It's not my face, everybody's face. When you put yourself personally out there, the world likes it. So that's an insight you learn over time. ऐसी copy लिखने से, ऐसा text लिखने से, ऐसी photo खींचने से. Content creation is important for a marketer, I feel. All the best, guys. Do well. Really enjoyed talking to all of you.
Thank you so much.